Welcome back. Today we're going to be going through Math 9, Section 3.4, Subtracting Rational Numbers. So in this unit, it's very important that we remember how to multiply fractions. So when we are multiplying fractions, we multiply the numerators and we multiply the denominators. Then we always simplify our answers. So really short and easy quick version is top times top, bottom times bottom. So 5 12s times 8 15s becomes 5 times 8, which is 40, and 12 times 15 is 180. Okay, so we're just multiplying the numerator and the denominators together with each other. And then when we are multiplying, we cannot forget that in the end, we always should be simplifying our fractions to get it as small as possible. So I have said here on the side that a common factor of 40 and 180 is 20. Okay, you could have tried dividing by 10. You could have did a division by 2 until you got there. You just keep dividing until you can't divide anymore. So in this case, I said 40 divided by 20 is 2, and 180 divided by 20 is 9, which gives me a final fraction of 2 over 9. When we are multiplying mixed numbers, it's a little bit different, not crazy complicated, but mixed numbers combine whole numbers with fraction parts. So in order to multiply, we write the mixed numbers in fraction form. So oftentimes, and when you're going to be working, you're going to kind of remember that saying that around the world, that when we are doing an equation to switch from a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, we are saying the whole, the big number, multiplied by the denominator, the bottom number, and then we are adding the numerator. So if we are looking at 2 1/4, we are saying 2 times 4, which is 8, and 8 plus 1 is equal to 9. And so 9 becomes our numerator and our denominator stays the same. So once we have done all of those steps, we just put it back into the equation, 9 over 4 times 2 out of 3, and it is still numerator times numerator, so 9 times 2, which is 18, and denominator times denominator, 4 times 3, which is 12. Once again, we always need to be simplifying our fractions. So in this case, I can say that the common multiple of 18 and 12, I can say is 6, because I know that 6, 12, 18, they're all 6 is a factor of both. So I'm going to divide by 6, and that gives me 3 out of 2. And we do not like to have final answers that are improper fractions, so we still have to go backwards. So to go from an improper fraction to a mixed fraction, we say how many times can the denominator go into the numerator? So it can go in 1 time, 2 goes into 3 once. It ends at 2, so remaining to get to the 3 is 1 more. That becomes our numerator, and our denominator stays the same. Okay, so I'm hoping that this is kind of something that you're remembering from previous years, so that we can come back to it in the future. So this is a page that you guys have in your notes that just has some practice questions for you to be doing. So at this time, what would be easy for you guys would be to probably just take a couple minutes and do these practice questions on your own. You can pause me. If you're not fully comfortable with some of these, you can just listen to me as I walk through them. So I'm just going to start with number 1. So 3 times 2 is equal to 6. 4 times 5 is equal to 20. They are even numbers, so I know that I can divide them by 2. If I divide by 2, that gives me 3 out of 10, and I can't simplify that any more than it already is. For question number 2, once again, multiply my numerators. 9 times 7 is going to give me 63, and 14 times 3 is going to give me 42. Okay, now once I have this is an improper fraction, and we don't like improper fractions. So you can either change it to a mixed fraction first, or you can do a division first, whichever is kind of easier for you to process. I know that 42 and 63 are both multiples of 7. So I'm just going to start by dividing them by 7. Because 63 divided by 7 is 9. And 42 divided by 7 is 6. This is a lot smaller. It's easier to work with. So then I can say 6 goes into 9. How many times? 1 time. And I ended at 6. So to get to 9, there's 3 left out of 6. And 3 out of 6 could also be simplified again if I divide it by 3, because 3 goes into both 3 and into 6. And that's going to give me 1 and 1 half. Okay, for question number 3, I have a mixed fraction. So my first step is going to be to convert my mixed fraction to an improper fraction. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 2 is 17 over 5 times 1 over 4. Numerator times numerator, 17. 5 times 4, 20. I know I cannot simplify that anymore, as that is a prime number is 17 and it doesn't go into 20. Okay, question 4, same thing. I'm going to do that around the world. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 out of 2. And 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10 out of 3. Then I'm simply multiplying. 5 times 10 is 50. 2 times 3 is 6. This is an improper fraction. It is also an even number, so you can either convert first or you can simplify. I'm going to divide it by 2 to begin to make it smaller, easier to work with when I'm doing a division. So that gives me 25 out of 3. Now I can ask myself, how many times does 3 go into 25? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. It goes in 8 times. I'm at 24. I have 1 left out of 3. Okay. Question 5. We're multiplying a fraction by a whole number. What you need to remember that any number can become a fraction if we put it out of 1. So it is actually 4 out of 1 times 5 out of 6. And that works anytime you have a whole number. You can always put it out of 1. And then you're just multiplying as we were. 4 times 5 is 20. And 1 times 6 is 6. How many times can 6 go into 20? 6 can go into 20 3 times. It gives me 18. Left to go to 20, I am missing 2 out of 6. 2 and 6 are both even numbers, which means I can simplify that more by dividing it by 2. Which gives me 3 and 1/3. So I hope that these are kind of making sense. You're remembering this from last year. If not, and you need more questions or more help or more practice, please make sure that you're letting me know so I can provide that information for you. So the other thing we need to review, because we're not just working with fractions anymore, we're working with rational numbers. And rational numbers also use positive and negative numbers. They are integers as well. So it's very important that you remember the rules for multiplying and know that they are the same for division and how they're going to work. So a positive number multiplied by a positive number is always going to give you another positive number. A positive number multiplied by a negative number is going to give you a negative number. A negative number multiplied by a negative number is equal to a positive, and a negative and a positive is equal, negative and a positive is equal to a negative, not positive. That should be a minus, a negative. Okay? What's important to remember is if you have an even number of negative signs, your answer is going to be positive. If you have an odd number of negative signs, your answer is going to be negative. When working with integers, please solve the equation, then look at the signs to decide whether your answer should be positive or negative. Okay, so do your calculations first, and then always go back to your integer rules. So I've attached them. Once again, we're doing this with fractions. It's the same rules for decimals, but we're reviewing it with fractions because this is normally where we have more issues. We are starting the same as we were. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 5 is 20. Now, we should remember that if the negative is there, the negative is only there once. It can be at the top, the middle, or the bottom of our fraction, and know that it's just there once. So easiest thing is to always just attach them to our numerators when we're working through so that we are using our integer rules properly. So if we have a negative and we are multiplying by another negative, my answer is going to actually be positive. So it is staying as positive 6 out of 20. You can put the plus sign if you would like, or you can just put 6 out of 20. If there's no sign, we assume it is positive. Still, after you've done these steps, please make sure that you are simplifying. So I can divide this by 2, which is 3 out of 10. Okay, for the second one, again, it was the same steps. When we multiplied this, it gave us 63 out of 42. Okay, we simplified it by dividing it by 7, which gave us 9 out of 6. And then we simplified that by saying 6 goes into 9 one time, left with 1 and 3 out of 6. And then we simplified this by dividing it by 2, which gave us, or by 3, which gave us 1 and 1/2. After you've done all of the steps like we had just done previously, you're going to go back and look at your integers. Okay, if I have a negative and I'm multiplying it by a positive, my answer is going to be negative. Okay, you always attach the negative in the front of your mixed numbers. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys to do questions 3, 4, and 5 on your own. You should have already seen the actual math because they are the same questions. They are just added with positive or negative in front of them. So just use your laws to know if the answer is going to be positive or negative. So I hope this makes sense for anybody. If you have any extra questions, if there's anything that you are not sure of, please make sure you are sending me a message and letting me know. I hope that you have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you again in class.